Well, maybe we'll get.
Yeah, maybe
we'll get more.
Here's the thing: is if you drop.
I mean,
the
how
insurance-
much is insurance a month on that thing?
If you drop the insurance for it, now you can't drive it. Even 2 blocks.
To the Western auction lot.
Can't you tell it?
Yes, you can.
We'll drive it to the lot and then cancel.
There you go.
And that
There's
was.
where-
So let's start with that conversation.
And so then, before it goes anywhere, whoever buys it has to make sure it's properly insured and tagged, and
Yeah,
There
make
you
sure
go.
we get our tags off of it and everything else.
And I believe Betty said they charge a 10% commission.
That's what.
And
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure that we're good to go. She wants it on her lot so they could sell it. People could see it driving by. She said she'd lock it up at night, and I told her, we will have all of our good stuff out of it. We do have to take off the Star Life stickers and the word ambulance. And there is some lights that we upgraded on that to LED lights. We kept the old ones, and I am going to switch those out and put those on our other backup ambulance. So as soon as we can get our stuff done, we'll get it up there and list it.
Okay.
All right, that's Western.
Well, just don't forget to drop the insurance on something we ain't gotta have anymore.
Right. I will go ahead and do that. Options for Dee's position, I let you know that she was resigning and that I would come up with options by this meeting. And since then, I did have somebody that was interested locally, or a local person interested that is on staff already. They're a driver for us currently, and they aren't certified EMS yet.
But they're working towards it.
They're working towards it, and there's nothing in the regs that says what they're doing, even though it's compliance stuff. They have to be certified. They have to be competent, and I'm pretty certain that I could train this person. They'd be competent.
Okay, let's back up just a moment. What exactly were Dee's duties? I mean, what was she responsible for?
The majority of hers was two things: education and inventory. Whether that inventory be the narcotics program, ordering of supplies, inventorying out dates on the ambulance. That was basically her duties. I mean, I got a whole list of them, but the majority of it was that.
Okay, so, but you have an applicant that you can fill those needs?
Yes, and she told me, because I knew there was a little concern about how long she might be around, and her situation is there's military involved and they really don't know what's going on, but she thinks she'll at least be here a year. And I told her, well, in that year's time, I said there's a couple things I would like to do with this position. She's pretty sharp, so I think I can train her fairly quickly, but yet I want her to not only do the job but document the job for the next person.
Okay.
Because this is a new position.
And you're talking about a part-time position?
Yes, still part-time. I told her right now it's 29 hours a week. If she had a problem with that, I said it's extremely flexible hours. She does have her own business. She also helps her mom in her business. I told her as long as the work's getting done, I really don't care when you work. And she seemed like that would work for her. I said initially we'll have to have some pretty standard hours so that I can train her. But after that, we have a system that we keep track of everybody's tasks, and as long as it's done, I really don't care.
I have no problems with your recommendations, because you know your needs more than we do.
So is she gonna be able to do the training also?
So two things on the training thing. So we subscribe to an online training academy that we can offer hours, and everybody's got access to that system.
So you're talking about recertification hours?
Yes, monthly continuing education hours. So we're going to go back to solely that system until we figure out what we're going to do long term for education. She will not be able to fulfill that position.
Because she's not certified?
She's not certified.
So she's not gonna be doing the same amount of work that
Well, to be honest, I would say probably that was 2 to 3 hours a month worth of work right there was continuing ed. It wasn't the majority of that position by any means. The majority of that position is expiration and inventory. I mean, she's constantly doing expiration and inventory because we try to keep our stock as long as we can to keep it cheaper instead of outdating it earlier. When I was the one doing it, initially when I started, we would pull everything a quarter at a time. So if it expired in the next 3 months, I'd pull it off the truck. Now that we have somebody, we've got down to the week. So we're pulling it just a week before. Whether we're saving any money, technically we should, but a lot of what I'm finding out is those medicines, even if you pull them 3 months in advance, we're probably not using them in those 3 months anyway. So, but we're doing our best.
Just for my peace of mind,
Yeah.
In regards to this position, is this one of those that should be open to applications?
So how we've done it in the past. So just
Okay.
I'll say that I offered it to all the EMTs. I sent them an email saying, "Hey, he's resigning. This is open." If we had somebody interested internally, we could go ahead and hire them without advertising the position.
And he's saying this young lady that is
She's
interested,
already
she's
an employee
already
on
inside.
payroll.
Okay.
She's
All
already a
right.
present employee.
Now, I don't know if that's written down anywhere or
And
that's just kind of how
I'm
we've
a little
done it.
unclear there too, when we're required to post things for application. Any new position,
Well, and, just coming on board and trying to get familiar with all of the positions that are in the county and what is or is not in the handbook and what we do and do not have job descriptions for, this is something that before any sort of final decision is made, I think we need to look into to make sure that we are in compliance with the personnel policy, and make sure that we don't need to be opening this up outside for applications.
would you, before you take action here, would you visit with Leslie and make sure that we've got all our ducks in a row?
This
Especially,
is a grant.
And yeah.
one thing I need
John?
to also,
This job is paid for by grant money, right?
No,
I need a new copy.
D's
of our-
not?
no. D is not
You
this.
said that was a grant deal.
Nope. Wendy and Tammy are grant monies. D is the only one that's county money. So county money's my position and D's position.
And I'm assuming we could save ourselves quite a bit of money to buy, because actually Dee we were paying her pretty handsomely. I doubt it. You don't think so?
Can we talk wage?
Do you want to
in
go
open meeting? I
into
mean, I don't.
executive?
Well, I guess I'm getting cart in front of horse here, but why don't you guys have your discussion and then
Okay.
come back and we'll,
I think financially it'll just be a wash
Okay.
across the board.
I guess that was what I was after.
That's my gut feeling.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll get together and
Very
then get back with you. Statistics is the piece of paper I handed out. I highlighted the received amount because they were both low in April and May. I was a bit concerned when I ran this report. So I went ahead for my own peace of mind. I ran June's, and June's way back up again. I was like, where's all the money? Because it's getting big. So I'm not concerned about that at all. The rest of the numbers are pretty standard. Collections is at an all-time high for this year. That's really not much we can do about, but let them sit there. Expense, we had an expensive month in May. We had hardly any income in May, so that's a negative 10,000% on expense. But like I said, that should level out. Our payroll's running pretty close to about the same. And our total accounts receivable is pretty high at 97,754. That's the financial side. On the call volume side, call volume over the year is a little bit lower than historically we've done, but nothing to be alarmed with. It's something obviously we can't control, we just live with. Operations, task compliance, it's still low. I'm trying to work with staff to try to get some of that done. Some of that was because of the new ambulance coming, made a lot of other tasks for them to work on getting that thing ready. Still takes us roughly about 10 minutes from the time you call 911 to actually arrive at your house. And our ALS available is still up at 86%. I see with Dee resigning, that probably is going to drop down because she took quite a bit of call during the day, that now she'll actually be working another job. So I know that's a lot of numbers in front of you, but any concerns or questions?
How many of your people do you have ALS certified?
Certified, it's me, Dee, Ed Marin, and Tammy Sherlock. Tammy Sherlock, I would guess, takes probably less than 20 hours a month call. Ed's probably, with his situation at the store, you know, he's really dropped off. Basically, it was me and Dee before. So, and I'll continue just like I have been. Okay.
All right.
That's statistics. Our grill guard discussion. I don't know if you've heard anything, but I've had two people come and approach me about that. One was a staff member with EMS, and his comment was, do you think they'd allow us to put it on if we could get it donated? I told him I'd talk to you about that. The other one was, yeah, he signed it. Mike Anholtz came and gave me this letter. I told him that I would read it. You guys haven't seen it, right?
No, but I've had
Conversation or whatever. Okay. It's a quick letter. I'll give it to you. I'm writing this not only as a concerned citizen, but also as a former EMT and EMS director. I'm asking for you to reconsider your decision on not buying a grill guard for the county's new ambulance. I'm speaking from my own personal experience from when we were transporting a patient to Denver and a deer came running out of the ditch, and I had nothing else to do but hit it. That's probably in most cases, you don't have the time to slow down to avoid hitting it, and you don't dare swerve to try missing it because more than likely you'll roll the ambulance because of the size of it. Now, if that would have been the ambulance that we were talking about now, and it was a cow, or more than likely would total it out, not to mention injuring and possibly killing the driver and injuring the EMT that is in the back. And I don't think that the cost of a grill guard is too much to ask for the safety of the people in the ambulance who are volunteering their time to help the citizens of the county, not to mention the damage it would be to the ambulance, which I know you will say that's why we have insurance, but why cause damage to it and have the cost go up when you can try to prevent it to begin with? And when he came up, I just talked to him for a little bit about it. And one of the points I hadn't considered was if the grill guard protects the ambulance enough to finish the transfer and getting the patient to like Denver. I hadn't thought of that scenario. I like I told you before, this is really your decision.
Do we remember the cost of that additional cost?
No, I don't have a quote, but I'm going to guess under $1,000. I'd say between $500 and $1,000. I know it's a big range, but
Well, there, you can't try to cover every possible area for damage. I mean, I don't know.
Well, even if you got a grill guard, if you hit a cow or a horse, that ain't gonna help much.
Yeah, them grill guards, I don't know.
You're still gonna totally.
I know.
And they do interfere with the operation of the airbags if they're not done correctly. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to really consider other than the fact that it might possibly create less damage. I mean, because if you don't have the correct person to put those things on, your airbags are not worth it. I mean, they're not going to function properly. That would be my first concern. If you're worried about the driver, you're in a collision, those airbags do not work. It's already a piece of safety equipment that's in there. Have you gained anything?
Right. No, I would say you wouldn't have, but anyway, that's the concern. You can think about it. The envelope's also my agenda for the day. I did reach out to the executive director of the Kansas Board of EMS and asked him if he would come out like we talked about for a little informational session. He said, yeah, he'd be more than glad to. He was like, give me the dates for meetings in August and September. You guys probably don't have a preference, do you? Okay. I'll try to throw him on the end of the agenda for the day. And I'll see if I can get Dr. Brown, who's our medical director. If we could just have a little EMS discussion would be.
That sounds good.
I have a quote for exhaust manifolds for our pickup truck that we inherited from the sheriff's office. We've let them go we didn't do it last year. But they are starting to affect the way that thing is driving. It's got 180,000 miles, but it's a quote for $1,100.
And how often do you use this vehicle? I mean, is it used daily, weekly?
I would say we need to use it once every 2 weeks, and that's probably responding to Bird City, a call over in Bird City.
And that was my next question.
Now, we use it at least a week because that's what we use when they go down and do errands, to get D over to Bird City, to do the ambulance stuff over there. We do use it. I think we put on about 3,000 miles a year is what we did.
The manifolds are cracked or what? What's wrong with
Mm-hmm.
Looks like both of them.
it? It tells you what's wrong with them. And if they ain't cracked, they ain't worked, why would they need replaced?
Well, I know, you can hear exhaust coming out of them.
Can you smell exhaust in the cab?
And that was their other thing. Do you take it on long distance stuff? I said, well, we'll go to Hayes with it. And we have maybe once or twice in the last year. But the other day when
Why would left would be $20 more than the right one?
2 more bolts, I don't know.
I don't know.
I haven't looked up the value of the thing, but it's probably not a whole lot more than that. But it still functions for us, so.
Well, I'd rather put wear and tear on this kind of vehicle than I would a newer vehicle.
And that's what all it is. And it is nice, to transport oxygen, the big oxygen tanks. We throw in the back of the pickup and drive it over.
Well, we just repurposed this vehicle anyway, correct?
Mm-hmm.
It came from the sheriff's office.
Yes, yeah. We put new tires on it.
Saves wear and tear on the envelopes.
Yes, that's what I'm getting at.
Well, a lot of times you can resurface it. I mean, if it's just leaking on the gasket side, you can take it to the machine shop, get it done cheaper, but
Well, I had a Ford a similar year, and
was it cracked? What did they do?
they were cracked.
If they're cracked, I mean, you're gonna have to change it. Keep the window rolled down so you don't get gassed.
I don't know. I don't see a problem with repairing that. I mean, it was a cheap vehicle anyway. We're not out much for it, and $1,000 to bring it back into service. I don't have a problem with it. I don't know about you guys.
I don't either.
Yeah. that's-
And I'll quiz them a little bit on exactly what's wrong, because you got a good point.
Well, and like I said, I had a pickup a similar year that the same thing happened to.
Okay.
As long as it makes it run better.
Oh, yeah.
If it doesn't make it run better, then it was a waste of money.
Yeah. It'll quiet it down anyway.
If it don't run any better, don't tell us, we don't want to know.
All right, I will go ahead and schedule that. Okay. I was wondering if we could get a motion, and this might need your help on this. We're seeing more and more credit card payments, and credit card payments have fees.
You're talking about billing on the
Yes,
billing
on the
side.
billing side. I don't have the authority to write off money. That has to come from you guys. But what I'm running into is if you got a $500 bill and you pay with a credit card, let's say the fees are $5. Do you want me to come and get your authority to write those off, or could we have a motion that I can automatically write off credit card fees?
What do you think, Leslie?
All the county write-offs, I mean, that's a report that I give the auditor every year listing every single
Well,
write-off. I can
Yeah.
give that report to you guys as well. It amounts to little or nothing.
I'd trade 500 for 5 every time.
Yeah.
Well, and you're going to be running into this more and more in regards to the way in which you receive payments, because everything anymore is going debit credit card. And so there is going to be a convenience fee
Right.
to take advantage of that. But if you want to be getting paid, people are a lot more likely to use their debit or credit card. And so I think, if the commissioners want to read the authority to write that off as a convenience fee on those bills, then that would benefit the county, because I think you'd be getting more payments.
Yeah, because if you don't take or accept their credit, they may not.
We even have insurance companies that instead of sending us a check, sends us a piece of paper with a credit card number on it. There's one that does that.
They're getting cash back.
Yeah, probably. Or frequent flyer miles or something.
When you do your billing, can you add more on that covers this?
No, well, we can change our rates, but that's across the board. We can't,
You can't just add on a fee for that.
no. If you're paying by credit card, here's your
It's a
balance.
percentage.
And to be honest, I think we're talking less than $100 a year,
Yeah, I think that's a pretty small change.
and maybe even less than 50.
Yeah.
Do we have a credit card machine up there, or what do you?
We don't. We run them down here at the treasurer's office. Dolores has talked to me about if we want one up there. I don't know if there's
No, I thought,
volume.
I mean,
The biggest
you run into
hassle.
Hunting license, $30 hunting license, people don't want to pay under $1 fee to run a credit card. Sometimes, I mean, there's just some people that don't want to do that.
So is that what you're doing? You're writing off the fees
We charge.
you charge? I don't have a problem with it. If it makes people more comfortable using their credit card, hey, I say we take it and write off the fees.
So I think we probably should have a motion to allow me to automatically write off those credit card
card
fees, those direct fees, just to cover me.
I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and all I got left is the $1 million question. Okay, I'm coming to see you for budget stuff this afternoon.
Okay.
This is the preface to that discussion. We have got to decide how we want to staff this county with EMS, because that determines tons of stuff, and especially staffing and budgets. Because in looking at the budget, we will be over this year because of shift bidding. And we've got to decide if that's a program we're going to continue, and we're okay to be over budget next year, and we're going to increase the budget. We're over budget this year and increase the budget next year in the hopes that once we have a class, we can get rid of that. Or we need to change, and I shouldn't even say change, because I have no direction from the board, and this goes back since I've started at least, on exactly how we want it staffed. Do we want Bird City full-time, St. Francis full-time? and do everything in our power to do that, including financially? Or do we want to back that off and say we're only going to comply by the state regs, which is one crew for the county?
To be on call.
No, not necessarily just to be on call. When there's not people to take call. I guess that's the big thing. If we get enough volunteers to cover both communities at the 50 cents an hour, we're going to do that every single time. But what we're running into is we're throwing out so many shift bids now, and I don't see that changing. It's not going to change this year. It's probably not going to change next year. It'll be the following year.
And that's strictly a manpower problem. We just
Right.
don't
It
have
is
the-
strictly a manpower problem. So, like I said, that's the preface for our 2:30 discussion to be thinking about, because just like last year, I don't have a clue what to put in as for personnel. I don't know if you remember, but last year,
Your actual calls per month.
yeah, that's
So
actually.
you're getting less than one a day.
I tell people we usually average one.
Well, I don't know how we could possibly have all these people full-time for less than one call a day.
And that's,
I mean, that wouldn't even make good sense.
well, and this figure up here in financials, the FTE staff one station, at $32,500 a month, that's what I've estimated it will cost, based on my experience over in Rollins County, to staff one station full-time. So that's just, and that's why I compare it with our current staff, just to see where we're at. Because if we get close to that, we need to be looking in a different direction.
Yeah.
So, I just,
That's $768,000 a year.
for two?
One here and one there.
Oh, I know.
Well, that's more than your budget is altogether now,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it?
That's why, I mean, it's not adding up. I mean, we've got to make decisions.
For sure not feasible.
Right. And where do you draw that line? What's not feasible? Is what we're doing with shift bids right now not feasible? Because probably I'm going to be over $15,000 this year.
Can you get all them figures for a year's time, what that's costing? I mean, an average
$5,000 a month for shift bid.
per here and there.
That's 60,000.
We don't have to shift bid Bird City. It's a St. Francis thing. So it's $60,000 a
So
year.
you're looking at the difference between $60,000 a year or $768,000.
So what if we say we're not gonna ship bid anymore?
Right. Okay.
No, we're not gonna.
Right.
ship
We
bid.
don't have the money. We're going over. We don't have the money.
And
so-
Bird City's doing it, why can't we do it?
So what you end up with is you have to do the state requirement. So we have to have one crew on call. There's only been, just the other day, there was 3 hours we didn't. But historically, knock on wood, that hardly ever happens. But that is your state requirement you have to provide. So if you don't do shift bids, I think it's not going to be that we don't meet the state requirement. I think we'll still meet the state requirement. It's going to be that we don't have coverage in both communities. That'll be the difference in
What you're
shift
saying,
bids.
though, if we don't shift bid at this station up here, people won't work. Is that right?
They won't take call.
They won't take call.
They haven't. That's why we put it into place.
But yet Bird City is.
So during the weekday, Bird City has one person. St. Francis has two, pretty much all the time. During the weekends, Bird City's a lot more covered than St. Francis is, and nights, Bird City's more covered than St. Francis is.
Why is that?
They don't want to.
It's your people.
Yeah.
It's
They have
you've got
full-time jobs.
Lauren and Wendy over there that are taking every night and every weekend. And you've got Jill over there that's taken every day during the week.
So does your one person in Bird City, she responds to a call, and then the ambulance from St. Francis goes over? and-
No, that truck goes over.
Okay.
We used to go with the ambulance, and that was causing some public problems, I think, with commissioners. Why are we sending 2 ambulances? That's why we did the truck.
So you're using Bird City ambulances,
Yes.
but you're bringing staff from St. Francis
Yes,
over there?
yes.
Okay. That's another good reason to fix that truck.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we probably, I would say every 2 weeks, we run a call over there. They also don't have any ALS over there.
Yeah.
So any call that I think might benefit from ALS, we'll send somebody.
It's just a basic problem, the lack of EMTs is the bottom line.
And the right ones, you know? I mean,
The ones that want to do the job and take the call.
so I've used up my time. That's a discussion. But when we prepare for budgets, we've got to figure some of this out where we don't know what we're shooting for. So,
All right.
anything else for me? Yeah.
And you'll probably tell me this wouldn't work, but do we always take out the new ambulance now? I mean, is it the first ambulance out? Would it be feasible for the county to use our backup ambulance to make transfers instead of using our new ambulance? I mean, those old ambulances are worth nothing. Would it make our new ambulance last longer, less miles, if we would use our backup ambulance for these? They're really not an emergency. They're just transfers, like from the rest home to the hospital.
Well, and the other thing to keep in mind, I mean, we say it's not an emergency, but we have to keep both of those 2 ambulances in the same condition
There you go.
regardless. I mean,
That's what I mean.
right.
I mean, would it make our ambulances last longer?
The problem I've noticed with our ambulances isn't mileage, it's time. But you have a 2015 where we took almost every transfer we could for this county to try to raise our income, and that was extremely successful. You go fast forward to 2017 where nobody's taking transfers out of here, and we wouldn't even have that issue this year. I mean, I think, well,
Well, I was just thinking there was maybe a way we could make an ambulance last longer.
like I said, it's years and not mileage. Now, if we go back to 2015 and we get this thing staffed so we're taking transfers, I think we really need to look at that, because we're putting a lot of miles on then. We're not putting any miles on now. But we do run the backup ambulance once in a while just to get them out. Especially that Bird City one, we have Willie drive it over once in a while just to get miles on it, get the tires rotated or on the road. But any other questions?
Do inventory loads here.
And we do.
I know Willie told me.
Yep. He gets with D and they figure out what day to bring it over. All right. I'll see you this afternoon. Thank you.
Thanks, Reed. Cody, you can slip in here if you got something.
I just have a few small things. I wasn't planning on being here, so I didn't get on the agenda, and I ended up being here. So, we met this week in Oakley over the Director of Law Enforcement stuff and signed this year's memorandum of understanding. I have a copy of it for you guys if you guys want to review it. Craig, Urick, and Nicole worked on it before Nicole resigned, and it just sat there for a couple months with the matter of the 3 sheriffs having the time to meet at the same place, same time. And I need to schedule a meeting with Leslie so I can go over it. Other than that,
Are you still being fairly successful with this?
this year has been kind of a slow time because we bought a new dog, and the handler had, I think it's almost 16 weeks of training with the new dog, so he wasn't on the road. The other person, who's actually Cheyenne County's employee, rode with, I can't remember the trooper's first name, but IROC.
Greg?
And worked with him. There's a couple, made a couple good drug bust and took some drugs off the road. So
You gotta share that with KHP now.
yes, and the ideology isn't about the seizure.
Right.
I think the
Right.
majority of the stops that they made and the rest they made were drug related, and there was no seizure. It was drugs that they took off the road. So that's kind of where we're at. I know it's been slow because of the one deputy being at training with the new dog, but
But we're done with that.
we're done with that.
Moving
We're on the road and we're moving on, and I know they got two in the last couple days. So
Still working pretty exclusively on I-70?
no, we're moving them around. There seemed to be controversy of that one little stretch of Logan County, because they're working US 40. They were up here twice in the last couple weeks, working up here, and also in Walls County. Since Walls County is part of the organization, so they're trying to branch out and work more than just I-70. So, and we're buying them some new equipment out of the drug. It'll come out of the drug fund. We're getting them Digital Ally. Actually, the Logan County attorney's going to be paying for the Digital Ally body cam and dash cam both. So they'll have both, and they'll be all coordinated together. I think the Logan County county attorney out of his funds are purchasing that for them. So, in lieu of some events of last week, I also did out of the drug fund. I purchased rifle vests for all the full-time deputies. You guys are aware the difference between what I'm wearing today won't stop a rifle round, so we bought rifle plate.
Ceramic?
No, steel. We don't plan on wearing them every day.
You can't.
You can't. They're so insanely heavy. Doing a lot of research into it. A lot of guys that carry ceramic have chipping and stuff when they carry them in their trunks and in the back of the car. So it was recommended to go up to the steel.
So when do you anticipate using them? Like if you're gonna serve a warrant or?
Serve a warrant. We get a BOLO like last week where we have confirmed shots fired with a
So
rifle.
they're gonna have them available.
They're going to have them. They're going to carry them in their vehicle. So,
Yeah, because you cannot wear those things full-time.
no.
You just can't. It's
No.
not, you can't. I've worn them and they are
They're-
unbelievably
yes.
hot and uncomfortable.
Yes. So we did buy that. I picked up two of them. The third one is on back order. So it'll get here when it gets here, I guess. And we're getting, just so you know about the vest thing, we were going to buy one new vest this year. The DOJ grant has expired. I'm waiting for it to open back up. I waited all year. I'm still going to wait towards the end of the year to buy the vest we need to buy this year, and then we'll talk about other vests during the budget hearing. But so I am going to try to hold off as long as I can until the DOJ opens up some more grant funding for that. Buy new carriers for the vest just because those other ones look great. They look like a uniform shirt. They're made out of a uniform shirt. You wear them every day. They last about a year. It's about what they last. So you'll be seeing some bills for that. But other than that, everything is going good. I talked to Thomas County about their new jail and seeing what they'll charge to hold prisoners to see if we could find some kind of, I know our jail budget's extremely over. So I'm in talking to Tom down there about long-term, what he would charge me for long-term prisoners. Obviously, if I arrest somebody I need to bring up for a first appearance the next day, I'm not going to take them to Thomas County. But if I have a probation violation that I know is going to do 90 days, I'm hoping I could work something out with them. And I know they're eager to hold prisoners in their new jail once they get it up and going. So, which is, you're looking a year or so, over a year away. So,
It might put a little pressure on Sherman County though to
yeah.
come up with a better deal.
Yeah, because I know Sherman County has, not the sheriff's office, but I have heard some talk that there's some people in Sherman County think they need to raise the price
For jail care.
for jail care. So
Are we not using Atwood at all anymore?
I need to sit down with Leslie and sit down with Ken. Ken's at the Basic Training Academy, so I haven't had much time to sit down and work things out with him. I want a memorandum of understanding between the two counties if we're going to hold prisoners there. I'm going to assume the old one is expired because you have a different sheriff and all this, and it was made before my time, so it probably needs to be updated anyways. So I will still take some there, here and there, but until I have a chance to sit down with Ken, he gets back to the academy and the attorneys and work out memorandum using.
Okay.
That's all I have. So,
We got anything for you? How's the project in Bird City coming?
slow, but it's coming.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to meet with contractors in the next couple weeks to go over building design and stuff like that. Start.
Did the guy get all his stuff out of there?
No, he's still working on it. So I got a text last night about him moving some more stuff. So it's going slow, but right now, I mean, I need to get with Dave. I've got so many other things to do before I'm ready to move that far, so I'm pretty lenient on him getting it out because it's not impeding me yet at this point. So it comes to the point that it's impeding the project. But we're not there. So, and we're not out of the 30 days yet either, so,
Okay.
I mean, got us that far, so. All right, well, gentlemen, that's all I had. I just wanted to bring this down to you and give you guys a copy, and if you want to file it with the clerk. Do you want your own copy?
I do.
I can make one for you upstairs. That I'll make one off this one, and I'll just give it to you. So,
Okay, Cody. Thank you.
yep. I didn't want to come in here and start talking about it. I had a chance to sit down, and I don't know if you want to go there with me and look at it. Sometime I have a key to it. Okay, that's fine. And we can go in and look at it, and I can get an idea of what we have, so. Okay.
Okay, Dave, I think we're ready for the
Working understandings. Like we had 15 calls from St. Francis and Bird City. Billed out $3,000.
So, and my question is, on these taxes, what is the way to equal that? Do you look into it, what agency? Why is that?
I don't know.
Because you need one tax and that's when you're getting that 4 days.
Why is the collection so high when we built it on this much? Means it's way back.
They do expire. You don't take action.
Yeah, he talked to us the other day about expiring. Things just don't add up.
more paper. Huh?
The $500, this is for the financial closing cost. So, morning.
Good
Do you
morning.
normally want my reports or anything like that?
Maybe in the future.
Okay, okay, all right.
Does St. Francis and Bird City pay us a flat rate?
They pay a tonnage fee for going in the solid waste, yeah.
But it's not on here that,
It's not what? It's not broke out separately, no.
okay.
I think it just, she lumps them together as the income.
Okay.
On the report, work report, most of it's blading roads. Second week, excavating gravel, then we wound up hauling dirt back, some more dirt back to swimming pool.
We're here.
Yeah,
Why, they're all too deep.
well, they dug it and didn't have space to stockpile it, so I thought we was just gonna haul it off, and we wound up hauling all of it back, and then you compact it, you know, it takes more of it, but anyway. Repairing wash out there south of Dean Naps, and then we did some gravel and so pretty much laid this week. We got a request, well, first off, Birch City wound up getting some oil millings from the state. I agreed to haul them for them. Estimated at 15 loads, $1,800, so we'll probably be doing that next week. We want to do some streets over there, but it's not our millings, so. And while we're on that, Nick Kitchener wanted to know if he could get some millings on his, I'm calling it his road, it'd be from the highway, you know, up to his place where he has the business with High Noon Feeds. They're having trouble getting trucks in and out of there. He'd be willing to pay part of it. Don't know where we do that. We've only did that one other time, and I know it was out the Doyle box, and I think the group, whatever, paid for the millings. They had that done, and then we spread them.
If Gary Leach got hold of you, he said the cemetery people want something going out the cemetery too.
Of course, we were struggling with these at that time. That's the reason I wasn't.
But I don't know whether he talked to you.
I think it was John Deeds that said something to me, so,
Okay. Just so you're aware of it.
yeah. Often wondered if we was gonna do Ketchner's, why we wouldn't come in the other direction. You know, that'd only be a half
Past
mile.
the cemetery and then up. What do you mean, from the other direction?
Instead of using the cemetery road straight north of Bird, take the highway out, and then go north that 3/4 mile and then back that half mile to the cemetery with millings.
Oh, excellent, yeah.
I mean, kill two birds, one stone, so.
Well, and the millings get pretty sporty for all I've seen.
They can. We've broke these up. They seem to be a lot better now, or I think you guys probably been on this Long Ridge Road.
I haven't, I avoided it.
Yeah, it seems to be a whole lot better, so. Of course, we had a sandy base to start with. I think that's a lot of the problem, too. Where I think we'd be all right, but somewhere, that's the reason in the future, that's the reason I don't know how we're gonna convey this, whether they need to pay a cost per ton for their wanting this.
I would think so, because he's wanting to do it for his personal gain.
What do these millings cost a ton?
We paid $6 a ton. And he had an estimate from Spores to do some, but I don't think they'd had it on very heavy, but it was like $500 a load is what they was gonna charge.
How many ton do you,
How many ton? I would estimate,
Per mile, if you figure,
Well, see, like the Bird City is gonna be like 1.25 miles, you know, if I based it on the 24-foot road. And that's 15 loads there, so, or 120 a load for the hauling.
So you're looking at $1,800 a mile, basically, right?
Oh, no, it'd probably be closer to 2,000 miles. Oh, yeah, you're correct, 1,800, yeah, yeah.
Well, I just wanna know what it
Oh,
costs.
1.25 miles, yeah.
Oh, I like the idea of including in the cemetery too. Like I said, it kills two birds with one stone. I'd be willing to go for
Well,
that.
yeah, and 1/4 mile, that's only gonna cost
Yeah.
$500 or less.
And I think he'd be willing to pay the $2,000, so.
I think so too.
So if we get something worked out, figured out by the time and go that way, if we, future problems, okay,
Sounds right.
all right, we'll go that way. We had pickup trouble the other day, engine starting, whatever. So I got on the website, State Surplus had a couple more of these. A 2000 Chevy four-wheel drive, and then there's 2001. Oh, it says they're both four-wheel drive on this one. They didn't say that on the other. They wouldn't come down as much as they normally would, but they already had some people looking at them. I put a hold on them, 3,800 for the pair.
They look good.
We have had excellent luck with them pickups.
Do you know what they're used for? What were they used
This
for
was,
originally?
he said these was probably a little rougher, but these was used in the maintenance yard. So that's the
Okay.
reason they're lower miles, but,
Yeah.
They
Yeah, some
should've
of
got
those-
a
but mechanically it was very good, he said.
Some of those state vehicles, you know, they experience a pretty rough life. You gotta be kind of careful with some of them, but yeah, this is.
So, and then when we get them back in service, we'll sell 2 more. Speaking of selling, the four-wheeler went for $1,600 and going to Texas.
Really? That one with a blade on it sitting
Yeah.
out there?
Somewhat satisfied with that, so.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, so, things are a go here then, okay? The crushed concrete, I did call Brock, it's roughly 475 ton, which is $15 a ton, just 7,100 alone. So, all right,
Do you have much on hand?
I'm pretty sure there is. I hadn't read out measure, but I don't think we've sold very much, so I'm confident there would be. This is all I got, other than I want 5 minutes executive session for personnel, so.
Okay, do I have a motion to executive session for 5 minutes for non-elected personnel?
So moved.
All those in favor? Aye.